Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is good, man. NFL is underway. We got the first taste with the Chiefs and the Lions. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs get upset by these Detroit Lions on Thursday Night Football, but we got a plenty more contests to discuss. I got every contest, every player, every team for y'all to get ready for this season. Starts it. Week number 1 is what we're talking about. You gotta love it, man. NFL is back in a very big way. I broke out the Josh Allen jersey for all y'all because it is MVP season for my guy Josh Allen. Like I'm saying, let's kick off with those Arizona Cardinals taking on the Washington Commanders, the Commies. And this Cardinals team is just going to be an absolute dump fire this year. It's hard to suggest otherwise, knowing the fact that Kyler Murray is injured. We got Dobbs and Connor, basically your quarterback running back combo this year right now until Kyler does come back. Maybe Tune gets in the mix, the rookie quarterback, depending on how good or bad Dobbs does play. We could see that, but high risk for Dobbs. Obviously, you're not playing it. Really, out of this contest, out of anybody on this Cardinals team, James Conner does seem like the safest play, even though I do got him still as a mid-level risk. He should get enough volume to at least carry you with opportunity this week. Do I like starting him versus a great Commanders defensive front? Not really. Marquise Hollywood Brown and Zach Ertz do pop off on the injury report. I mean, I haven't heard anything to suggest that Hollywood is not going to start in this contest. Rondale is a high risk. Greg Dortch does have some PPR upside. He's been doing very well in camp and preseason, so he might be one of these guys we're going to grab off the waiver just a little bit later. Rookie Michael Wilson, we'll see, high risk, and then again Zach Ertz on the mid-level risk. If he plays, I do like the PPR upside from Dobbs as well for an Ertz, but we will see. It's going to be very difficult to trust these Arizona Cardinals, and James Conner is probably your best bet if you have a running back to choose from. Atlanta Falcons taking on these Carolina Panthers. Desmond Ridder, I got him as a high-risk play. I got to see much more. Liked his game from Cincinnati. I thought he does have a lot of tools that he can be utilized properly in this league and be exploited well. But this is not the week to be thinking that Desmond Ridder is going to do a lot. So how does this translate offensively for these Atlanta Falcons? Bijan Robinson, clearly the low-risk play. Not putting him up to a stud start just yet. You do play him because you drafted him extremely early, and he should be, the volume pig in this offense all season long. Bijan obviously is the safest player, but what do we do with Algier and Patterson? Patterson's got some, thigh problem, but you got to believe that they're going to utilize Patterson a little bit more in this pass game, so eventually there could be some PPR upside for a Cordero Patterson, but he is not a start. Tyler Algier may be if you're stuck at the running back position early, but I would be keeping both those guys on my bench. Drake London and Kyle Pitts are the big ones. I got London as a mid-risk only because of a Desmond Ridder. They will try, to go deep, try the back shoulder fades. Ridder will have targets, but I think he's a mid-level risk. Still, I think flex is okay for a London, but I'm almost saying, potentially on the bench because the Panthers still do have a good defense and they'll likely run the ball a lot with Bijan. As for Kyle Pitts, I do like the upside here in week 1. He's going to want to showcase the fact that he's back from his injury, and the volume should definitely be here from a Desmond Ridder, I should say, because, safety blanket is key, and if he can get Kyle Pitts the ball, he may reward us with a touchdown of sorts. Next is the Baltimore Ravens, and everybody on this team right now, Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, low-risk plays for me. You start those guys up, man. Gus Edwards, high risk. We got to see how he's going to be utilized in this offense. It's a split backfield majority of the time with these Ravens, but I like J.K.'s bounce back year hardcore this year. High upside for rookie Zay Flowers. He has been absolutely electric, unguardable this offseason. Should be again in this contest versus these Houston Texans, who do have an up-and-coming defense, mind you. So under DeMeco Ryans, we're going to see how this Houston Texan offense or defense is going to perform. But, the Ravens are favored by almost 10 points in this contest, so you got to believe that they're going to exploit a lot of these opportunities. Rashad Bateman, mid-level risk. Odell Beckham, mid-level risk. So, pick your poison here. I'll probably lean more toward the side of an OBJ over Rashad Bateman here in week 1, but their level could go up and increase if Mark Andrews does not suit up in this contest. He's dealing with a quad injury, and, if he plays, it's Mark Andrews. He's definitely low risk. So, caveat that with saying, if he does not suit up, now you got a good trio of wide receivers that we could potentially trust all 3 of them, as Lamar Jackson will still run the ball quite well. Zay Flowers, definitely my high upside player for these Baltimore Ravens this week at the wide receiver position. The Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. Bills Mafia, baby. Let's give it up. Josh Allen MVP season is coming. Low risk. I would have given him the stud start, but this Jets defense is legit, no joke, and they will, put some pressure on Josh Allen. So he's going to have to be perfect in this contest. No turnovers, at least limit the turnovers as much as possible, and it's going to be very interesting how this offense does go forward with these Buffalo Bills. I think we're going to see a very different unit than we have seen in previous years. James Cook is that new potential lead back. I mean, the jury's still out on James Cook right now. Can he win the job? He's already got the job. Can he keep the job as the running back? One is going to be the key mid-level risk for James Cook. I think he'll struggle at times because this defense is very good, but if they can get him outside, spread the Jets to the sidelines, I think it's going to be do wonders for this Buffalo Bills offense. Stephon Diggs, obviously low risk. Gabe Davis, I'm going to put him down as a mid-level risk. I think that he does still possess so much talent. He's been working on the hands this entire offseason. He is healthy, not like he was last year, so he's hopefully we see his route tree, made to be a little bit more better than just going on the nines and the, deep sevens. We'll see. Gabe Davis for me, mid-level risk. I mean, I'm almost going to keep Gabe on my bench unless you don't have any other option, just because I want to see how they're going to utilize a guy like Dalton Kincaid, man. High upside. We saw a guy like Sam Laporta, rookie tight end on Thursday Night Football. He played 81% of the snaps, caught himself 5 passes in that contest. If they give Dalton Kincaid 81% of the snaps, man, sign me up all day long because this man could find his way into the end zone. The Bills are definitely going to have to utilize Kincaid in this contest, possibly, Dawson Knox as well, to try to keep this Jets defense honest as the, Reed and Sauce, they are no joke at covering wide receivers, but I do like the Bills to put up a decent amount of points this week. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, obviously your safety nets, but I do, got a soft spot for Gabe Davis, but I do like Kincaid this week as well. These Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, and there's some injuries. Obviously, DJ Chark with the hamstring, he's out. Adam Thielen's been dealing with an ankle as well. So far, it's said that Adam Thielen is going to play. That gives me PPR upside all day long, especially for a rookie quarterback who is going to be looking for that safety blanket. Miles Sanders, I'm going to give him the low risk. I think volume is going to be definitely here for Miles. He should be able to give you a boom game in the first week of the regular season with an Adam Thielen. We'll see how the other wide receivers do come into full with Terrace Marshall, Jonathan Mingo. I'm giving them mid-level risk. Not really wanting to start either one of these gentlemen right now, but they could pop off knowing the fact that DJ Chark will not be on the field. Hayden Hurst, I'm only giving him a high-level risk because I want to see it before it's done. I think that, with the rookie quarterback analogy, having the safety blanket, Hayden Hurst could have himself a decent level performance when it comes to PPR upside, but I do like Adam Thielen the most out of this offense to gain the trust of a Bryce Young, catch at least 6 passes, hopefully in this contest, and then run the rock with a Miles Sanders. Bryce Young, on the other end, he's still got to keep him on that bench or keep him on the waiver wire until further notice. Chicago Bears to Bears. We're talking Justin Fields. They're going up against the Green Bay Packers, now dealing with a lot of injuries. Now we understand, okay, no more Aaron Rodgers. It is the Jordan Love show, but I mean, Justin Fields, he has already claimed that he wants to throw, and he's going to throw 4,000 yards this year. He's got the pieces to help aid in that process, man. Khalil Herbert, low risk. Justin Fields, low risk plays for me. Fire both these gentlemen up. I love their game all day long, especially against these Green Bay Packers, who could be, a little bit stumbling on offense, giving the defense a little bit more trouble to, keep the Bears off the field. DJ Moore, low risk. You starting him up all day long, as is Darnell Mooney. Fire this man up as a sleeper because I think, the 1-2 punch here in Chicago is going to be absolutely interesting to see as we move forward. Week 1 is so very difficult to predict, but I still do like a Darnell Mooney. The route run is great. If Justin Fields can hit him, the separation is there all day long, and Justin Fields should be able to support both DJ Moore and a Darnell Mooney. Chase Claypool for me, I think he's going to have more TD upside than he will, yardage and receptions in this contest, but we'll see how they try to, manifest it on the field to say who's going to be the lead guy. Obviously, DJ Moore is going to be the safety blanket, safety net for a Justin Fields. Cole Kmet, on the other hand, I think that there's better options at the tight end spot, but you might be able to snag him off the waiver wire because guys like Hawkinson's back, but Andrews and Darren Waller, who popped up on the injury report, we might have to kick Cole Kmet into our starting lineups to help, hedge our bets on all those injuries. Cincinnati Bengals, Joey B, fresh off the injury and fresh off the biggest contract in NFL history, basically. $55 million a year this guy is getting. Unbelievable. He got his bag. They're ready to go. Low risk for Joe Burrow. He says that he's fine. The calf is fine. He's 100%. Let's see it on the field, man. And if Joe says he's fine, I think he's absolutely fine. Joe Mixon, I'll give him a low risk versus these Cleveland Browns as well. Even though AFC North football is usually a grind, Joe Mixon does pretty well in the divisional game, so I think that I'm going to, put a low-risk marker. You're obviously going to play him unless you have greater options than these. But, Chase Brown, high risk. Who's going to be the secondary back? Is it going to be Brown? I'm thinking it's going to be Brown, but we could see a lot of Chris Evans as well. Ja'Marr Chase, stud start. This guy's going to absolutely go off this season. Barring any health, I think he will challenge Justin Jefferson this year to be the top wide receiver in the NFL. I had him, I believe, as my offensive player of the year in my predictions as well, but I love Ja'Marr Chase this season. Going to be an absolute dynamo, as is T. Higgins. Low risk play for me as well. They are so far apart in these contract negotiations. If T. Higgins can play every single contest this season, get ready for this man to get paid, because he should be able to put lightning on the board for all his statistics. Stumbling for my words because I think he's going to be absolutely phenomenal this year. Tyler Boyd, I'm going to say high level risk because I think it is going to be Chase and Higgins over those two, as is Irv Smith. Let's see what his role is going to be in this offense, as they haven't necessarily utilized tight ends thus far in the Joey B tenure, man. Cleveland Browns taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. This is an interesting team. What do we do with these Brownies? There's a lot of options here. Deshaun Watson, I'm going to say mid-level risk. I could say low-level, but I want to see it on the field. Against the Cincinnati Bengals, this could be an absolute score fest, which means that this mid-level risk is a little too low for me. If you got him as your starting quarterback, absolutely feel comfortable playing him in this contest, because I do think this offense is ready to go. I think that Deshaun Watson has got his head in the right space, and they should be able to do some damage on this field. Nick Chubb, obviously, low-level risk, man. You fire him up everywhere you got him. Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore, I'm giving low risk and PPR upside to Moore respectively. I think this offense is going to do very well with Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore. It gives them a different dynamic than we have seen with these Cleveland Browns thus far. And I think both of these individuals will be able to complement each other extremely well. Given Donovan Peoples-Jones the mid-level risk this week, I think it's very safe to play him in the deeper flex leagues. If you got multiple flex positions, Donovan Peoples-Jones is one of these players that I don't hate playing this week, because he is good for a big shot and a potential touchdown, especially this week as well. David Njoku, mid-level risk. I think there are better options because there is so many mouths to feed on this offense. There are better options at tight end than David Njoku, but if you picked him, you're obviously playing him. I'm giving him a mid-level risk because there is potential for him to break one as well. These Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football against these New York Giants. Excuse me. A lot of pressure on Dak Prescott right now. They did trade for Trey Lance, so the writing's on the wall. Could Jerry Jones be saying, hey, as soon as you're done with your contract, we got Trey in the waiting, and if you're not going to produce, we may move on. That is what he's essentially saying, to put a little more pressure on Dak. Competition is always a good thing, but Dak's being, overly scrutinized this year. I think Dak is just fine. Dealt with injury. Okay, fine. He's dealt with turnovers. This camp in preseason, he was trying to fit the ball in certain spots, and he was throwing interceptions. Everyone's getting on his case. I got low risks. Fire up Dak Prescott this week. Absolutely. Think he's going to be absolutely phenomenal on Sunday Night Football in prime time versus the Giants in division game. Tony Pollard, like Dak Prescott, I got him on the low risk. Going to be very nice. Deuce Vaughn, the Jitterbug, he's on my list, but he's a high risk. We'll see how they utilize him in this offense. They got Rico Suave on the backup running back to Tony Pollard, but I think eventually Deuce Vaughn will be sprinkled into this offense enough that they won't be able to take him off the field, especially in PPR. CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks both get low risk. Fire both these gentlemen up for me because I think they're going to have a great day. Brandon Cooks, the most disrespected wide receiver in all the NFL. All this man does is catch 1,000-yard seasons and continues to get traded for first-round picks. So I'm telling y'all right now, Brandon Cooks should absolutely elevate this Cowboys offense to another level, which will elevate CeeDee Lamb to another level as well. Michael Gallup, high-level risk. And Jake Ferguson, I'm going to give him the mid-level because Dallas still loves to use their tight ends, even though he is he's youthful and inexperienced, I would not play Ferguson or Gallup, but I mean, I'm just putting the risk rank for you just in case you are in deeper leagues. The Denver Broncos, let's ride. Nobody used it anymore, but I'm going to continue to use it because it's funny. Russell Wilson, I got high-level risk on this man right now. I got to see it, with Sean Payton before I trust anything out of these Denver Broncos. I basically shied away from everybody on this team this year. Call me crazy, but I'd rather go for the more sure product than what we're seeing in Denver right now. Javonte Williams, absolutely incredible. Came back from that ACL. They're saying he's going to get a full workload. We will see this as well. Show it to me. It's week 1, man. We don't know a lot. We're predicting more than what we know. But Javonte Williams, if he does get on this field, I am curious to see how he is going to operate in this offense. As is Perine TD upside. This could be a decent 1-2 punch, very much thunder and thunder, and we'll see how this does go. So Perine and Williams, I think I'll fire up Javonte this week if you have him. If you have better options, I might sway to the other side, but the Raiders' defense without a Chandler Jones might be susceptible to some big rushing plays. Jerry Jeudy still dealing with that injury. He is an injury risk. I am not playing Jeudy this week. Throw him on the bench until further notice, till we understand if he's going to be fully healthy. I do not like it whatsoever. You should not have drafted Jeudy if you did. Hopefully you got him a lot lower and you got, hedge bet pieces that you can play. Courtland Sutton, mid-level risk. I'd play him above a Jeudy at this point. Even if Jeudy does suit up, I'd play Courtland Sutton over him. Marvin Mims, mid-level risk, as is Sutton, like I should have said. And then Greg Dulcich, he's a high-level risk. We'll see how this tight end room operates, as they do got Troutman as well. Let's see who Russell Wilson chooses to throw the ball to more. But like I said, I'm staying away from most of these Denver Broncos right now. If you have to, you're starting Sutton, you're starting Javonte, and then move on from there. Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Bears. Love for Love, Jordan Love, my guy. I'm a fan. I think he's going to do very well this season. Potentially, I'm going to throw it out there, they could be a 500 team this year, and I don't hate that prediction whatsoever. There will be growing pains, but I think Jordan Love is almost ready to go. We will see how it is on the field. This week, I do believe they will lean on the ground game, especially with news. Christian Watson is now out with that hamstring injury. Romeo Doubs also does have a hamstring on the questionable. So if they don't have their 2 top wide receivers, it's going to be Jaden Reed, Samori Toure, and then a lot of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. So I do believe that you can fire up both Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon this week. Jordan Love, I'd keep him on the bench or the waiver wire right now until we understand what this offense is going to look like. But Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon seem like the safer volume plays. For me, Aaron Jones low risk, A.J. Dillon mid-level with TD upside, mind you. And a Jaden Reed rookie, he could have some PPR upside, especially now that Watson is out. Maybe Dobbs is going to be out as well as we get closer to kickoff. But Jaden Reed, this rookie, might have some good PPR upside. He looked good in camp. And then Luke Musgrave, mid-level risk. We're going to have to see some safety blanket play from this young quarterback in Jordan Love. Pick your poison on those Green Bay Packers. It could be a quite awful contest for them this Sunday. Houston Texans taking on these Baltimore Ravens. CJ Stroud, baby, rookie of the year, my prediction. I love this kid. I think he's going to be absolutely great, but there is low upside this week. You can't trust it, yet we got to see how it's going to look on the field, especially going up against these Baltimore Ravens. Going to be very tough sled, and they're going to give him a lot of schemes that he's going to be very confused by, but Dameon Pierce is a low risk. They're going to lean on this ground game, give some support to a CJ Stroud. Devin Singletary might even get in the mix with a mid-level risk, mind you. I don't hate that. I think there is potential possibility that he could give you something, but he's definitely on the bench. You starting and firing up Dameon Pierce everywhere you got him. Nico Collins, mid-level risk. I've been one of these guys. I'm not necessarily in the Nico Collins bandwagon. Fault me all you want. I just don't really care for it until I see otherwise. I got to see it before I, preach the good graces. But I will give him mid-level risk because he should see at least some targets from C.J. Stroud. But I do like a Bobby Trees, Robert Woods for the PPR upside safety blanket stuff as well for you, these young quarterbacks. This is the mantra, man. If they're young quarterbacks learning the game, they need the safety guy to check down the ball to. And Robert Woods could have himself a decent PPR day, which could save you down the road at the wide receiver spot. Noah Brown, high-level risk. Then Tank Dell gives me the high-level upside, kind of like a Zay Flowers. We'll see how much he gets on the field. So Noah Brown, Tank Dell, you're absolutely not playing this week. We got to understand what it is. But I will fire up a Dalton Schultz, man. Mid-level risk, and again, like Bobby Trees, veteran leadership and presence could have the upside when it comes to PPR game. Dalton Schultz might even find his way into the end zone, potentially in garbage time, if these Texans are trailing from behind quite a bit. Indianapolis Colts taking on these Jacksonville Jaguars. Duval, man. And I mean, the Jaguars are a team to be reckoned with this year. I think that, a lot of eyes are on them to prove it, and I think they will. They can get after the quarterback in a very big way. Anthony Richardson, rookie, has got mid-level risk because of rushing upside. I would have put him down further, but the fact that he can take off with his legs like a Cam Newton style, like Lamar Jackson style, I think that Anthony Richardson will at least get you 12 to 15 points this week. It is not, out of the realm of possibilities. No Jonathan Taylor. We got Zach Moss on the injury report as well with the broken arm still. He is surprisingly questionable to play in this contest, but they're likely going to go with a Deion Jackson, mid-level risk, just only because of volume upside. That's the key. I think Jackson should at least give you decent amount of volume productivity. Rookie Evan Hall is an interesting one. You're not playing him. He's one to watch right now. High level risk. Michael Pittman, I'm going to give low upside. Until we understand, the pedigree of the passing game and the aptitude of an Anthony Richardson, Michael Pittman has got to still be at worst, your flex to the most on your bench right now for me, especially in week 1. Hopefully you didn't draft his services, but if you did, you're likely playing him. He will likely give you the number 1, obviously, wide receiver target share. How much can we trust it week 1 versus the Jaguars and a rookie passer like Anthony Richardson? It's pick your poison. I'm caution against it. I think it's going to be under the consistency boom game, but it's going to be enough to get you maybe, 7 to 9 points, so we'll see. Half PPR. Alec Pierce and Josh Downs, high-level risk, as is Granson, the tight end, high-level risk. Mo Coxmo problems. I mean, are we going to see which tight end on the field? We'll see. Granson right now is the leader on the depth chart, but these Colts could have a very tough season, but are going to be likely high beneficiaries in garbage time point productivity. Jacksonville Jaguars taking on those Indianapolis Colts, and there's a lot of green right here for my Jacksonville Jaguars. Mine. I'm claiming them as my team now because I like how they built this roster so well. Trevor Lawrence, stud start, man. I'm saying it. This team is ready to go now with a Calvin Ridley, low risk level play. Travis Etienne, low level risk. Christian Kirk, again, like I was saying in that one video, if the chemistry building doesn't go the way we wanted it to see with Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence early on, they're going to go back to the well because chemistry is already built with a Christian Kirk. So I do believe he's even going to see some good upshots this week. Ridley and Kirk are low upside plays or low risk plays for me, and I think you can absolutely fire them all up. Etienne and Trevor Lawrence. Tank Bigsby's got some TD upside, but I'm going to keep Tank on the bench right now until further notice. Zay Jones, high-level risk. You're not playing that. And Evan Ingram, mid-level risk. Should be at least some PPR upside, potentially, the 4 catches, 40 yards. Hopefully he finds his way into the end zone, but the Jaguars could literally light up this scoreboard. I like it all day long. Fire up most of these Jags in week 1. Los Angeles Chargers bolt up going up against the Miami Dolphins. Justin Herbert, low-level risk. Obviously, you're playing him. Austin Eckler, likewise, low-level risks. Fire him up all day long. Keenan Allen, low-level risk. Fire him up too, man. Josh Kelly, who's going to be the backfield secondary back in this backfield? They're continuing to want it to be Joshua Kelly. I'm still having some faith in an Isaiah Spiller, believing that eventually he will take those secondary carries and targets from the backfield. We will see. Kelly's obviously got the first snaps going into the regular season. Mike Williams and Josh Palmer, I got them on mid-level risks right now. I think you're pretty safe to play either one of these guys. We will see. Quentin Johnston is going to get some time on the field, but I think they're going to give the veterans this week to showcase their talents. Palmer is risky. Could be a very high risk level play. If you're stuck or in deeper leagues, Josh Palmer's absolutely worth a flyer this week to play. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen should dictate, coverage and get the target share coming their way with a Gerald Everett, a high level risk for me. I think that they're going to try to utilize these wide receivers in this new Kellen Moore offense. So let's see how they do operate. Even though Moore does like to run the football, I think there's going to be an ample amount of passing upside for these Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Rams, another crapshoot in the making, kind of like these Arizona Cardinals. And I mean, how do we even appropriately dissect these Rams right now? They do not look good. No Cooper Kupp. He's dealing with a hammy. They're talking about placing this man on IR. Matthew Stafford, arm was basically left together with bubblegum last season. He's a high-level risk. I'm not touching basically any of these Rams against the Seattle Seahawks. In Seattle, mind you, as well. High-level risk for Stafford. Cam Akers, volume upside, mid-level risk. He could have potential. So if you drafted him, you're obviously playing him. Don't really care for it. Van Jefferson, he gets a mid-level risk play for me because someone's got to get the ball, right? So Van Jefferson has improved. It was one of my guys back when I was scouting his services coming out of college. I really liked his game, but he has definitely disappointed me in what his progression could be in the league. Tutu Atwell, high-level risk, going to be the hopeful big play potential threat. Puka Nacua, I'm going to give him a high level, but there is a level of PPR upside here without Cooper Kupp. Someone's got to be taking this role. Puka Nacua could do that. He looked good in preseason, but I think the default is going to go all to Tyler Higbee here. Without a Cooper Kupp, he should be peppered with a lot of targets, as Matthew Stafford is the most familiar with this man. So if you got tight end issues and injury problems, Tyler Higbee could be a flyer that you're going to play this week. Absolutely. The Las Vegas Raiders taking on these Denver Broncos. They got some studs, man, so we'll start there. Josh Jacobs, he's back from, the holdout. Didn't see much practice time, field time. You got to give him low risk. Fresh legs, he's ready to go, but the risk to injury always coming out of no camp and no preseason is very scary for me for a Josh Jacobs, but if you got him, you're firing him up because he is one of the better running backs in this league. Devontae Adams, low-level risk play for me. Even with a Jimmy Garoppolo, it's like DeAndre Hopkins. It won't matter who his quarterback is. He's just going to get open, and Jimmy G has been proven enough to support a wide receiver one, so don't get that twisted. He will be able to at least support a Devontae Adams to decent numbers and productivity. Low-level risk for me. Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, kind of a similar skill set. Want to see how they're going to be utilized. Dual slot presence. You got to like this. They're going to do some damage in this slot, and I got PPR upside for both these gentlemen. There is potential. If I got to pick one or the other, I'll probably go with Jacoby Myers over a Hunter Renfrow at this point, just because he is a McDaniels guy from New England, so I do believe that Myers is going to have the favorable role here in this offense to start. And then Michael Mayer, the rookie tight end, high-level risk, because we got to understand who they're actually going to suit up at the tight end spot. Is it Austin Hooper or is it Michael Mayer? I do like Mayer a lot. I think he will be able to showcase his talents, and he's got to be able to, catch the ball and make some plays like he did at Notre Dame. I think it's going to be very good. But Jimmy G, mid-level risk to finish this team off, because I do believe he's good enough, but he's only going to have, 12 points, 13 points for you, potentially against this Denver Broncos defense, who's still very good in the secondary, so you're not firing him up, but there is a mid-level risk that if Devontae does go off, Jimmy G is going to gather the points just because of default yak ability and potential touchdowns. The Miami Dolphins taking on these Los Angeles Chargers. Tua Tagovailoa, mid-level risk. I've been very critical on Tua this entire offseason. I am terrified. He takes one more headshot, and that's basically his career. Well, how can we trust it if the fantasy community? I get it. There were other options at the quarterback spot that you could take, but he does have a track team, a very nice offense. Raheem Mostert is going to be the lead back now that Jeff Wilson is out on IR with the knee injury, as is Devin Achane. Going to be a nice rotation with Salvin Ahmed as well. You got to believe that the veterans are going to get the default touches early on, sprinkled in with some A-Chain to see what he could potentially do with those wheels and high upside play. Mid-level risk for a Raheem Mostert, high level for Devin A-Chain. Low-level risk for a Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Even though Jalen was dealing with the abdomen, he's saying he's good to go. And going up against the Chargers defense, that's going to rush Tua a lot. I still believe with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you're never out of a game. And those two guys absolutely starting. Braxton Berrios, he comes up on my list. This is an interesting one, okay? I put him at mid-level risk, but you're not playing him. It's a mid-level because I want to see it on the field. He could be this X factor in this offense that could be piling up the PPR upside over the middle as Tyreek and Waddle burn past defenders. Do not sleep on a Braxton Berrios. Only putting him here right now because I do think he's going to be a very good complement for a Tua. But, they don't really have much at the tight end spot with Durham Smythe, so that's a high-level risk for me. Wide receivers and running backs, there is potential here for Miami to do some damage here in Week 1. The Minnesota Vikings taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm in it, man. I'm in with Skull Nation this year because I think these Vikings are ready to go. Tampa Bay is not the team they once were. No Tommy touchdown. It is Baker Mayfield. He's feeling dangerous. Dangerous enough to throw the defense some interceptions so that Kirk Cousins and this offense can roll and do some damage offensively. Low level risk for a Kirk Cousins. Mid-level risk for Alexander Mattison for me. I think that he's going to be sprinkled enough to get you over the boom consistency rate and point productivity. Will he explode this week? I don't think so, because I really do believe this Vikings team wants to pass the ball a lot, and we're going to see a lot to JJ and Jordan Addison. Stud start for Justin Jefferson. Low risk for a Jordan Addison. You got him, fire him up. I'm good. Let's go, man. He was my number 1 ranked wide receiver coming out of this draft, and I am not going off my game. Jordan Addison should find himself some good targets, and we'll see even if he finds his way to scoring his first touchdown this week. But I'm playing Jordan Addison everywhere I got him, because I am that big of a believer. PPR upside does go to a KJ Osborne, where a low-level risk play for TJ Hawkinson does exist, even though he is dealing with that injury. Got a contract, a huge contract extension as well. But for me, I do like Jordan Addison this week a lot with JJ over TJ Hawkinson when we're talking about splitting up the target share. But for all these guys, you're definitely firing up Madison. You're firing up JJ, Addison, and then Hawkinson, Kirk Cousins, if he is your quarterback, because you waited to draft a quarterback. I'm okay with Kirk Cousins this week as well. New England Patriots taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. This could get ugly. This defense in Philly looks damn good. Mac Money Jones, high-level risk. Ramondre popped up on the injury report. He's got an illness of some sorts. He should be good to go. It's going to be fluids that he's going to have to replenish to get on the field, but this is going to be potentially lesser volume for Ramondre, so I put him down to a mid-level risk, where Zeke Elliott does now have TD upside and potential volume upside in this contest, but it's going to be tough sledding running against this fabulous defensive front of these Philadelphia Eagles. Juju Smith-Schuster, they're saying that knee's ready to explode. I am not trusting it, but they need somebody to throw the ball to. I got a mid-level risk. If you got him, okay, I understand. I'd look in a different direction this week for Juju, as they're not liking what they're seeing on the knee this year. They're saying it could potentially blow up on him before the season is out. Devontae Parker, he finds himself on the injury report as well with a knee. He is questionable. Kendrick Bourne, I got him on the mid-level, where Parker is a high-level risk for me this week. Hunter Henry, mid-level. I think there's got to be opportunity somewhere for Mac Jones to find his wide receivers. Hunter Henry and Kendrick Bourne could be the guys you're looking for this week if you're in deep leagues. Outside of that, 12-man leagues, I don't think you're playing any of these guys outside of Ramondre and potentially Zeke Elliott. If you were really went 0 RB on the draft board, I really do feel for you in that respect. New Orleans Saints taking on these Tennessee Titans. Going to be very interesting. Derek Carr, I got a mid-level risk because he's always good for a turnover or two. New offensive system. They will have some growing pains as well, but I think he's going to be able to support this offense. And where it gets me excited is Michael Thomas is back, baby. And my guy, Chris Olave, CO2, low-level risk for him. He is the best play on this New Orleans Saints team for me. Jamal Williams is a mid-level. Should see some level of TD upside inside the red zone, inside the 5. New Orleans, he was automatic last year. So if New Orleans does get it inside the 5, you know they're going to be going to Jamal Williams, where there is good TD upside there, but he is mid-level risk overall for me this week, where CO2 and Michael Thomas should be the guys that are the bread and butter. Where you got Juwan Johnson, I'm going to say mid-level risk, even though I had him in my earlier video as a bust this week when it comes to consistency, point productivity. I do understand everybody's saying Derek Carr likes to feed tight ends because he had a Darren Waller, but he never had a multiple wide receiver cast like this. Yes, his last season with Davante Adams, but look what he did. 180-plus targets with a Davante Adams. Get ready for Michael Thomas and CO2 to absolutely explode, and Juwan take a little bit of a backseat this week. I still got a mid-level risk. If you got him, I get the start, but I'm looking at elsewhere for my tight ends, as these wide receivers should absolutely blow up this week. The New York Giants taking on the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Like I said, Daniel Jones, Daniel Pennies. Okay, this is all on the perception that Darren Waller is going to play. If Darren Waller suits up in this contest, I got low-level risk on both Waller and a Daniel Jones. I think that, what was seen in the preseason and camp, Jones is not going to be shy of force-feeding a Darren Waller this year. So we need to see this man on the field. If he's not on the field, I'm going to put it in between a low-level risk and a mid-level risk play for Daniel Jones, Daniel Pennies. But we got Saquon. He's got the low level to a stud start. I do like Saquon a lot. Dallas does have a very good, formidable defense that will challenge this week. The defensive front did get a lot better, especially with a Mazi Smith. I mean, Saquon could have some issues this week running the football, but he's as safe as they come at the running back spot. All the wide receivers do have mid-level risk here for me. Hodgins, Slayton, Campbell, and we see that Wandale's likely going to miss this contest. He is a doubtful. Mid-level risk because we don't know who's going to be the go-to target. There isn't necessarily an alpha wide receiver on this offense at this point. Jalen Hyatt, rookie, he gets the high upside for me as the, Brian Daboll's going to try to, spread the defense out and try to go nines with a Jalen Hyatt. We could see a deep touchdown for this man as well. If you got the kahunas to start a Jalen Hyatt, I applaud you because there is definite high upside here for him as well. The New York Jets taking on my Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. This is going to be a tough one, man. Everybody's talking up the New York Jets. They're dying for it to, the storyline and the narrative to be Aaron Rodgers, savior in New York since Joe Namath, blah, blah, blah. This is all we're hearing. There's a lot of pressure on y'all Jets, man, and early out the gates, we could see some chemistry building issues. There is no question about it. They haven't played a lot so far. It's only been in camp and maybe, 2 series in preseason? That's all they really had. So Aaron Rodgers, once he gets on the field, yes, he is, all-world future Hall of Famer. We get it. He's going to uplift everybody in this offense. But for me, low-level risk for Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to be able to at least throw the ball enough to give you that good point productivity, potentially anywhere from 16 to 20 points this week for an Aaron Rodgers. Dalvin Cook, on the other hand, he's got the low-level risk play for me. I'm not trusting Breece Hall in week 1. There's a reason why they signed Dalvin Cook, and I do believe within the first 6 weeks, Dalvin should see majority of his touches come in the first 6 weeks. Dalvin, last time he played the Buffalo Bills, scorched them to a big degree, and the Bills do have some linebacker trouble, so this, I got low-level risk. If you drafted Dalvin Cook in hopes that you could, pull all the ounces out of his fantasy game, your first 4 weeks are where you're going to be starting him. Fire up Dalvin Cook. Breece Hall, on the other hand, this is a tough one for me, man. I got him on a mid-level risk, and I'm going to say bench Breece Hall this week. If you want to start him, I'm going to say that's totally your call. But for me, I'm more comfortable placing him on my bench because if I drafted a Breece Hall this year, you know that I hedged my bets, and I got 3 or 4 other running backs to choose from going up against the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to play Dalvin over Breece Hall this week, and I don't even think it's that big of a question mark for me to decide in that respect. Garrett Wilson, low-level risk. He's going to get force-fed from an Aaron Rodgers, so we could see some double teams coming his way. Someone's got to pick up the slack. It's Allen Lazard, Mecole Hardman, Tyler Conklin. Who's going to be the guy? And we just, it's not a great, complimentary crew at the wide receiver spot or tight end spot for these Jets. So you got to think it's Dalvin Cook, it's Garrett Wilson, it's Aaron Rodgers show. So the Bills should be able to at least, create some dynamic defensively to shut down this Jets team. But for me, Lazard, Hardman, and Conklin, all high-level risks, where you got low for Cook, you got low for Aaron Rodgers, and low risk for a Garrett Wilson. Those are your safety blankets this week. Philadelphia Eagles, fly, going to New England, take on the Patriots. Bill Belichick broke up with his girlfriend earlier this week, so he's going to be angry. Get ready for some defense on Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's not going to be a happy man. Jalen Hurts still low-level risk. I mean, this man does it all. One of the best offensive lines in football, and they love to run the football. Very interesting that the Eagles did decide to, place all 4 of their running backs as their starters. So we don't know who the hell is going to run the ball. DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, they will be the go-to guys. I do truly believe they'll ride the hot hand a lot, but you're dealing with a lot of injury. DeAndre Swift is injured all the time. Rashad Penny injured all the time. Kenny Gainwell did showcase some talent. But I do like DeAndre Swift over a Rashad Penny this week. Even though I got mid-levels on both of these guys right now, I'm going to go and hedge bet, and I'm going to say DeAndre Swift is going to be the front runner in this offense as of week 1. Week 2, we might have a different story, but if I'm having to pick one or the other, I'm going Swift over a Rashad Penny. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, fire them up, low-level risk. You know what this offense is now capable of with Jalen Hurts' passing aptitude going through the ceiling. I absolutely love it. Quez Watkins, you're not even looking in that direction, and then Dallas Goedert, low-level risk. I think that you could fire him up as well. This offense is, again, going to challenge a lot of teams and likely going to be challenging to go back to the Super Bowl. Once again, the Philadelphia Eagles defensively look damn good, man. This team is going to be very, very much stellar this year. Pittsburgh Steelers, do not sleep on these Steelers this year, taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Small Hands Pickett is looking good. He looked very good in the preseason. I think it's going to carry over. Mike Tomlin has got his troops, he's got his troops ready to go. Do we start a Kenny Pickett? That's the question mark. I'm going to sit here and say no, but there is great potential that he could eventually give you good points that you will likely, either off the bye week or in super flex leagues, you will be very comfortable playing him. And then maybe as we get to the midway point of the season, he could be one of these guys flirting with a starting spot on your roster. I do like what the projection is going and the progressive upside we are seeing from this young quarterback. Mid-level risk for me. Najee Harris on the mid-level. Fire him up. Even though I said there is potential early on that this could be a bust game where he's going to be under that point threshold that we want to see, now, it's Najee Harris. He's fully healthy. That Liz Frank was bothering him last year. They improved the offensive line, and they got a guy named George Pickens to help spread this offense. So here we go. Najee could get back in the mix of being that PPR Le'Veon Bell type of running back. I like Najee this week as well, even though I got him, it might not be the greatest game. We're talking anywhere from 9 to 13 points, but I do like Najee this week. There could be some good upside, even though the Niners defense is very good. Jaylen Warren, play at your own risk. I got high levels right now. I know everyone wants to believe that Warren's going to take Najee's role eventually. Mid-level for a Deontay Johnson, where I got low-level risks for a George Pickens, Mr. Alpha wide receiver himself. He's going to take a lot of these passes, and he's going to make Kenny Pickett look better. I'm telling y'all, George Pickens is that dog I had coming out of the college. In my scouting report, I loved every ounce of his game. He is now proving everything I was saying. Go back and look. It's all there, verified on film, man. No kidding. Allen Robinson, high-level risk. We'll see how his role is. I mean, his career just completely spiraled downward. Is there potential he has a role on this team being the third wide receiver? Very much so. He could see, 5 targets a game, and then, maybe if he can make the most of them, maybe his role does start to expand. But Deontay for the PPR upside, George Pickens for the alpha, and then you got Allen Robinson. Do not play this week. We got to wait and see. But we do got Pat Freiermuth, the Muth. Massive TD upside with some PPR upside, and Kenny Pickett does like this man a lot. Fire up Pat Freiermuth every single place you got him. The San Francisco 49ers taking on these Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Okay, and I mean, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, they get the low-level risk plays for me. I think they're going to be the guys that's going to be leaned upon once again in this offense. Brock Purdy, mid-level. He is the truest form of a system quarterback. Kyle Shanahan loves these guys. I think he's going to be very efficient. He could get you the games where he's throwing 4 TDs, or you could get the games where he's got 1 TD, 2 interceptions. That's going to be Brock Purdy, maybe better than Jimmy Garoppolo overall because he looks like he understands the system better. But I mean, overall, how can you trust Brock Purdy in any start-sit at this point whatsoever? Mid-level risk, there is potential, but Pittsburgh's defense is still very good, and they will give the Niners a run for their money. Elijah Mitchell, he's got mid-levels, going to spell a CMC from time to time. A lot of people concerned about the usage of CMC as they want to keep him fresh and healthy, but it's Christian McCaffrey. If anything is, backs against the wall, they're going to be trusting CMC a lot to carry the load. Brandon Ayuk, mid-level risk. It's one of those hit and misses. How many targets is this man going to get? 4 or 8? It's in that mix. It's very much diverse on where you're going to see his target share be this year. I do think his season is going to go very well, but I want to see week 1 how Kyle Shanahan does try to distribute this ball with Brock Purdy, but it does help the fact if George Kittle does sit, he's on the injury report with a groin. He may sit. If George Kittle sits, then Ayuk gets a low-level risk play for me. If Kittle plays, I got mid-levels on both Ayuk and Kittle, just playing it safe, but you can fire up all these gentlemen this week. I do believe they're going to be very good against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seattle Seahawks taking on those broken LA Rams. Fire them all up. There's lots of green. Seattle green on my board. Geno and Kenny Walker, both low-level risks, as is DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. You fire them up, man. This defense is not what it used to be. Yes, they still got Aaron Donald, but they do not have what they used to have, and Geno Smith should be able to exploit it. Kenny Walker was on the injury, dealing with, I believe, a groin or a hammy. He has been cleared to play. He's not even on the injury report. Fire up Kenny. Zach Charbonnet's mid-level risk because I do believe they will split touches at some point in this game. Not enough yet for me to start this week. Jackson Smith-Njigba, if you got the coolness to play this man coming off the wrist surgery, I'm going to leave that to you. I'm going to still say it's high upside for Njigba, but I do want to see it before we actually start promoting it, that he's fully healthy, can catch the ball with no limitations. So I'm going to go DK and Tyler Lockett before I go Jackson Smith-Njigba, but I think he's going to do very well. There is high upside for this man to make a big play and a touchdown score this week as well. Noah Fant on the high-level risk. I think there's too many options to even look at Noah Fant's direction anymore, y'all. I think the wide receiver is absolutely stellar. Tampa Bay taking on these Minnesota Vikings. Okay, Baker Mayfield, Trey Palmer, and Cade Otton, all high-level risks. We're not touching them. Let's get that out of the way right now. Where we are looking is Rachaad White. There is potential volume here against these Minnesota Vikings defense who can give up some yardage in the ground game, which should be able to promote potential dual-threat backfield with Rachaad White and Sean Tucker, y'all. You think it's Chase Edmonds? I don't think so. I think Sean Tucker's going to show y'all why he was overlooked. The heart issue was the problem, why he fell out of the draft. Sean Tucker was a second or third round talent out of this draft and could be a lead back in this league. No kidding. Rachaad White and Tucker could make a great 1-2 punch. So I got mid-level risks for White. Play White this week. Sit Sean Tucker with low upside. Hopefully he does something and shows us what he can do. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both get the mid-level risk. They're good enough to support Baker Mayfield, not the other way around, where the quarterback's supposed to support the wide receivers. But I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin still decent enough to play, even with a Baker Mayfield. There is always touchdown red zone upside for Mike Evans. Chris Godwin over the middle, PPR upside game. So play Mike Evans, play Chris Godwin, unless you have better options. Everybody else and Rachaad White for volume upside. So there you go. Tampa Bay does not look like the same team without Tommy Touchdown. It's actually getting pretty ugly. Tennessee Titans taking on these New Orleans Saints. And what has been my, conundrum all off season with these Tennessee Titans? What do they want to be, man? We do not know. Ryan Tannehill comes back. Derrick Henry comes back. They tried to shop the services, drafted a bunch of rookies. One last kick at the can because they signed DeAndre Hopkins and said, okay, let's try it one more time, see how far we can go in the postseason. Ryan Tannehill, the Saints defense is still pretty good enough to, force issues, but I think Derrick Henry could gash this defense quite a bit, which will set up the play action pass, which will ultimately give DeAndre Hopkins more opportunities. And with D-Hop and Treylon Burks, I do like the possibilities here in this offense. Derrick Henry with the low risk and D-Hop low-level risk. Fire those two gentlemen up. Don't even think twice. Where we do got to speculate is Treylon. Is he healthy or not? I may put him on my bench this week and wait and see. See what he does look like, even though I got a mid-level risk, because there is potential he could find his way with lesser coverage to having a decent contest here. I still want to see him on my bench just because I don't know if he's fully healthy and they're going to put him on a snap count at this point. Haven't seen him. No, he's not on the injury report, but I do want to see how he comes back from that knee issue that he did have, and there's potential that thing could get torn if he was rushed back. I mean, Okonkwo, I know a lot of y'all on the Okonkwo train, high-level risk for me until I understand how they start spreading these targets, even though now they have a DeAndre Hopkins. It absolutely drops in Okonkwo because I think Burks will have a better day than the tight end. Last one I got is the Washington Commanders, the Commies, taking on these Arizona Cardinals. Ooh, I'm getting tired, man. It's a lot of talking we got to do and start sit. Sam Howell, my guy. If you guys aren't convinced yet, you will be this week as Sam Howell's taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Crap fire defense. They're going to have some issues. I love what this Washington Commies team looks like on paper with Eric Bieniemy. Let's see if they can put it all to fold and come to fruition statistically on the field. I'm going to go bold here. I'm going to say if you have no quarterbacks and you went extremely zero quarterback, fire up Sam Howell this week. Superflex, I am firing up Sam Howell. No problem whatsoever. Low-level risk for me. He may throw an interception, but he's going to throw anywhere from 250 to 300 this week. No kidding. Brian Robinson, he's got mid-level risk. I think he's going to be the lead back in this offense where Antonio Gibson will have the PPR upside. I like Antonio Gibson over Brian Robinson this week, but that's just me because I do believe they will utilize him a lot in this pass game. Also, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, low-level risk. Terry has been cleared from the toe injury. Fire them both up. I love it all day long, even though I think Jahan might have the better day over Scary Terry this week. I love Jahan Dotson this year. I am rooting for him, hoping he's going to have a massive season. Curtis Samuel, mid-level risk. He'll get his sprinkles from time to time. Not touching that. Neither am I with Logan Thomas, but there are a lot of great options for these Washington Commanders. But there you have it. That is week one starts it. A lot of stuff to go through. Hope you guys win. Get these guys in your lineups. Who you think is better, obviously, throw them in the comments. If you think my takes are wrong, throw them in the comments. We can definitely talk it out, but I'm going to absolutely update you in the comment section as injuries start to come out before game time Saturday evening, and we will go forward that way. So if you're looking for any updates, I got you covered in the comments as well. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.